Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Anthony podcast. That's I, and today I'm joined by a regular guest, my good friend Tom Talks Rubbish.
Thank you for having me back, pal. When I sent you this DM the other day, I was like, he won't want me back on. I'm not that interesting.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you on, mate, because I feel like we have some good chats.
Hmm, I would agree.
So I know. So how you doing today, Tom?
I'm good. As you said, man, always a pleasure to chat with you because it's very interesting.
La the last time we spoke, you had just moved out. I think it was like a week after you moved into your new place. So obviously now it's been 6 months. So how do you feel now?
Settled, very happy, very, very happy, very, very settled. Just like good. I don't really know. There's no like exciting words I can use. Just yeah, I'm in the best place I've been in probably 2 years.
So, so I remember the last time we spoke. You said you were a bit nervous. So how long do you think it took you to like get over the nerves?
Hmm, that's a big question and one I don't really know the answer to because it just sort of happened one day. I suppose it's a lot like when people say, "Oh, I'm so upset about this breakup," and then the next one day in however long they wake up and they're fine. That was exactly that for me. I know it's a terrible analogy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I assume by now you've got some kind of schedule, like what day you do shopping and things like that.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I've That helps as well. I've got a schedule of the day that I do everything, the day that I put washing on, the day that I do other things, the day that just you're right. Yeah, I've got a schedule.
Have you, uh, have you improved your food shopping?
Why? I don't know what that's about. Of why?
Because last time you said you were you were sort of like buying a lot of junk. So
Oh, right. Yes, I do remember that conversation now. Yes, my food shopping has improved tenfold because now I don't know if you've ever seen a picture on Twitter or Instagram, but I do like uh meal prep pastas and chicken with my
yeah,
carers.
like ready meal sort of thing.
They're not ready meals. Well, they are, I suppose, because like they're in Tupperware, but I've made them from scratch myself.
Yeah. I didn't know you were on Instagram. You'll have to tell me your Instagram after we finished the episode.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like, yeah. So yeah, now that's become a lot better and my health is a lot better because I'm in a schedule with the gym, whether it be my body pump class, because I've joined body pump classes. I've got back into boxing.
And
I
I'm going slow down. Watch body pump.
essentially it's lifting weights, but in a repetitive manner. And like, so like you do 10 of so many exercise, 10 of another. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Carry on. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
I've got back into boxing. I've got back into swimming. I've got back into going to the movies and not just working at the movies. So yeah, I've got back into doing the things that I find fun. Like we can talk about this, but I've done so many meal because I do not know when this will drop because it could be this year, it could be next year. But like me and my carer that was a chef for 30 something years, he always corrects me. But sorry, Neil, if you watch this, but like we're writing a cookbook of all the books of all the recipes that we've made. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. You see that? Do you know? when we first started talking, I could not imagine Tom talk rubbish writing the cookbook.
No, neither could I, man. I've always enjoyed, to peel the curtain back, I've always enjoyed writing, just in general. Like, I've always written short stories. Like, Amy teases me all the time, but like, she'll get little notes, like "I love you" notes and things like that, and stuff like that. So I've always enjoyed writing. And then when we started doing all these cookbooks, all these recipes, it was like, I think we have enough for a cookbook here, pal.
Um, so as you say, you've been getting into your fitness a lot more. How has that affected your content?
Content, not so much, because you know that I backlog. So, like, if I record an interview this week, for example, odds of it airing, it won't air till probably July now, maybe even August, because we're in June.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty lucky. Like, last count, when me and Jeffrey, my editor, had a conversation, we were at um 3 months worth of backlog content.
so to take it back a little bit, because some of my audience might not know exactly what sort of content you make. Would you mind explaining it, please?
Of course. Essentially, my friend, it is conversations with people within the wrestling media or just wrestling fans to remind those of us that are fans that they're fans as well, how they might have discovered wrestling, how they enjoy wrestling, and it's turned into more of a mental health podcast as well, because specifically the interview I got back this week, which will air in about a month as we record this, my interview with Ango was based on mental health and burnout as a creator.
Yeah. Um, at this point, we'll probably have another episode together where I can make a playlist of the Anthony podcast with Tom Talk Rubbish.
That would be awesome, pal. I'm not gonna lie.
So if you wanna go if you wanna know more about Tom's journey, go back and watch some of the earlier episodes that we did together.
But like, basically, I try and get big people in wrestling media, but I like talking to small creators as well, because to
Yeah.
show them that, like, you can be on the level of Sean Ross Sapp if you do this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't remember, but I think you contacted me first, or was it the other way around?
So it was kind of both. We just clicked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We just clicked. And like, I believe I interviewed, we always get this confused, don't we? I believe
yeah.
I interviewed Adam Pacitti first. And at the time, my guests were recording them for me and
Uh,
sending them.
I remember now. You put me on your interview list, and then I was like, okay, I'll come on.
Yeah, that was it. But you had to record it at the time. Do you remember?
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So yeah, that was a nightmare, man. I agree with you.
Look, look, luckily, luckily you've developed past that point.
Oh, definitely. Like, I look back at the content in 2021 and I'm like, how did people agree to come on my channel? Like, how?
That that shows how good you are, mate. Because
I
if you were crap, they would not agree to come on in the first place.
I really appreciate that, man. And I really feel like I've got my to plug this, because when's this going out, pal?
I'm not gonna lie, probably as soon as possible. Because I really want to get more episodes out as soon as I can do.
Oh, okay then. Not this Friday, but the Friday after. I have an interview going up with Chris Van Vliet. So that was very cool.
I I I know for a fact you wanted to get Chris on the channel for a long time, for a long time. So was it just persistence on your part, or did you have a connection to Chris?
So, do you want to hear the full story then? Yeah.
Yeah, we got time.
So, it was a little bit of persistence and just emailing him saying, "This is my show, this is my show." For the first 3, 4 times, I got ignored. Fair enough. And then, because he does a segment on his podcast called Ask CVB. I don't know if you've ever listened to those episodes.
To be honest, mate, to be honest with you, mate, no.
Fair enough. But he takes like questions from his audience. And I
Yeah,
believe I submitted one. And he was like, he didn't have time to answer it in the show, but he emailed it back because he liked the question. Do you know what I mean?
what was the question? Can you remember?
And this applies to you, I think, as well. Any advice on contacting people when you may struggle to meet them in person due to travel issues with medical disabilities? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I loved his answer. He just said, lead with value, but also, I can't word it how he worded it, but he was like, lean into the fact that you can't travel, explain that, and people will be more understanding.
yeah. I I agree with that, but just from my personal perspective, I know it's not about me, but all I'm gonna say is I find it a bit awkward if I explain my disability. It seems like I'm trying to guilt them into coming on, if you know what
Yeah,
I mean.
definitely. There is a fine balance there, I grant you. There really is, pal. I do agree. But anyway, at the end of that email, I think he said, I know we've been trying to set up an interview for a while. So uh after Mania, because I believe this was pre-Mania,
Yeah,
reach out to me and we'll set something up. And then I kept promoting his stuff because I genuinely believe Chris Van Vliet is one of the best interviewers out there. I don't know if you agree.
um, to be honest, I've stopped watching Chris's interviews, and they're just not for me anymore. I respect everything that he does, but they're just not for me anymore.
That's fair, man. Fair enough. But anyway, I still really value his work
Yeah,
and things like that. So I just kept tweeting, and eventually he followed me back. So he followed me back on the Twitter machine. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. What I will say, I do watch the occasional clips that go viral, but I don't really watch a full episode
Mm,
anymore.
I understand, man. So then I basically sent him a DM saying, thanks for the follow, always enjoy your work, things like that. And he said, so when do you want to set this up? And then it went from there.
So, yeah, to any aspiring interviewer like that might be watching this, as Tom just said, to keep on being persistent and don't give up, and you never know.
Yeah. And also, can I add another bit of advice in?
Yeah, you can.
Try and build a connection with your prospective guests, not just about the podcast. Maybe ask them for advice, tweet out their stuff if you really want, because it shows you're a fan and you're
But
not just trying to get a podcast episode.
but the one thing I will say, if you are gonna do that, make sure you do it from a genuine place. Don't just do it to get the interview, because people can see right through that, in my
Well,
opinion.
essentially, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. But like, if you are a fan, tweet out their stuff, ask them for advice, strike up a genuine conversation and not just a, I want you on the podcast sort of conversation.
Yeah. So so I'm gonna ask you this before, but when do you think you developed your style as an interviewer?
It was once I moved, definitely. Like, something just clicked in one of the first interviews I did when I moved because I had about a month where I didn't record any content because I was waiting on Wi-Fi. And one of the first interviews I recorded was with our good friend Dom from the Give Me a Whole Year podcast.
Yeah,
And I sent him a text because I'm now at the point where me and Dom have got each other's numbers because we're friends. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh,
That's
do you mean you don't have to go into specifics, but do you mean on WhatsApp or do you mean actually like in the phone?
both sort of thing, yeah. But
Okay. Then.
but and I just sent him a text being like, dude, may need some content this week because I was still really proud of the fact that even through the drama that I went through with my move and all that rubbish, we still kept up being consistent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, may need some content this week. You down? He was like, yeah, all right then. And
Yeah.
then I really was proud of how that interview had structure because the first two interviews that I did with Dom are train wrecks, man. Like
But
they're fanboy interviews.
but you're but the one thing I would say, Dom's the sort of person where you can mark out and he doesn't really mind if you know what I mean.
No, no, no. I do agree with that, man. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of those interviews, but I really liked the one that we did once I'd moved.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say this now. I would love to see you interview Adam Pachi again. I think that would be a good interview. Because I
Yeah,
think
so would I.
obviously the first time you were you were not you were marking out too much. And
Mm.
even I said to you at the time, you need to calm down a bit.
Well, the markout Tom is still there. I'm not gonna lie. If you watch the start of the Chris interview, there are moments where it's like, you need to calm down. Do you know what I mean?
But, thank you for letting me know. I'm not gonna lie. I'll probably skip the first couple of minutes then. When do you think you calm down?
So I definitely calmed down within as soon as his face popped up. Actually, I wouldn't say the interview I marked out, but like the
The
definitely
free
when his
the preamble.
yes, the preamble, I definitely had to take a moment and be like, do you know what I mean?
Okay, and then I'll check it out when it
Hmm.
drops. Not this, not this Friday, but next Friday. Have I got that right?
That's correct, pal. I've got a great interview going up with somebody called Jonah from Rewind Recap We Live as we record this week, which was another one that I thought, yeah, you've really found your niche here, Tom. Like you're asking a lot of the same questions. A lot of your questions are staple questions now about people's legacy, success, burnout, and everything in between. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Doing what you do, obviously, cause you both record, yeah. Obviously, obviously, when it comes to burnout, bulk recording can help with that, can't it?
Yes, 100%. Like, particularly since I've moved, I've found that I do a lot of stuff in the evenings. So it's like some weeks, like this week, I've got a recording every day if we include this one, right?
Yeah,
But then next week, I haven't got anything in the can at all. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, and that's not by design, that's just by not sent out any emails or anything. But that's just to try and give myself a break. Yeah.
yeah. So, so you mentioned earlier that you finally find your feet living away from home, yeah. But
Mm.
what are are there certain aspects that you miss, or not really?
Not really, because my home life at my mum's was very unsettled, and that's all I really want to go into on this
Yeah,
podcast.
let's just say it was complicated. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it was complicated. That's fair. That's very
Okay.
fair, pal. So, not really. And I've just found, because I was talking to my aunt today, as I told you off camera, who came to see my flat for the first time.
Yeah,
And it's like, this is the happiest I've been in 6 months. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. because I imagine when you start living on your own, you can become your own person. Not that you are your own person already, but you know what I mean. Like when you're
No, you are exactly right. Like I've got my flat how I want it now. I've got my, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean, mate.
Like the last journey went up a couple of weekends ago, which was some curtains that I really wanted in my front room. Do you know what I mean? Can we go back to burnout for a second? Because I really want to talk about the social media stuff.
Oh yeah, sorry, go on, mate.
So you talked about me living on my own as well. And one thing I found when I first moved in, I spent a lot of time on social media.
Yeah, 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 we spoke about that off the camera, didn't we?
We
Oh,
spoke about that off camera, and I just had one night because I'm someone that I don't know if this is a cerebral palsy thing or my brain damage thing, but like if plans change, sometimes it can really affect me, and I really struggle to focus or do anything else for the evening because I sort of bottle it up. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean. I don't get it like that, but I know what you mean. When plans change, I get a bit aggy and a bit annoyed sometimes. It's aggy like word.
Yeah, 100%. And there was one point a couple of weekends ago where my plans changed and I just couldn't get out of the funk. I just grabbed my iPad, grabbed my phone, and was just scrolling every social media app that I had. And in the end, this was at 6 o'clock, and I looked at the clock again. It was 9:30. And I was like, so I've wasted 3 hours doing, as we say in the UK, bugger all.
Yeah, I
So I just
sorry, what were you gonna say? My apologies.
I was just gonna say, man, I just had this moment of like, I'm taking these off for now. I might put them back on my iPad and stuff, but for now, I like the routine that I'm in of like just checking them in the morning, just checking uh, them in the morning to make sure I haven't missed anything, just checking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. As I said to you before, I do exactly the same thing. I get down a wormhole, so to speak, and then I just start looking at what's going on social media. And as I said to you before, it can be quite downing sometimes. So I have
Yeah,
to,
and that was the other thing. I found that I was really becoming sort of not even because I was looking at depressing things, just like, okay, my mood's changed. Why? Oh, you just spent 30 minutes sitting on social media. Like, so let's cut that out and see what happens.
that yeah, so I end up having to go onto Netflix or Disney Plus and just watch something just to just let myself unwind, especially
Exactly. That's what
especially
I tend to do now. Sorry, pal.
no worries. I need to start interrupting you. I apologize.
Nah, it's cool. I think it's just where we have conversations now. It's like we just have conversations as buds. Do you know what I
But
mean?
yeah, be- because obviously we're not going to get too much into the but with all the negativity going on in the world and reading some of people's opinions on social media, it can be quite, I don't want to say upsetting,
No,
it can,
you are right. You are right.
it can be quite upsetting. So
Uh,
I
No,
have
you
to,
are.
I have to take myself away from that, so to
And
speak.
And also, I found that's helped me enjoy wrestling a bit more. I don't know where your fandom is currently, but like that's helped me enjoy wrestling a bit more because I'm not looking for spoilers. Or I found, particularly with AEW Dynamite, I found that I would just go looking for the negative. So I wouldn't watch the show because, oh, Pete in Brighton has said I didn't like it, so there's no point watching it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you were if you were just looking at my social media pages, and I mean everything, my my Twitter, my Instagram, and my YouTube, you think I don't watch wrestling anymore, but I do. But I don't feel like posting my opinions on social media apart from the odd tweet
Yeah, that's me. That's me, pal.
about let me ask you something. What do you think of the Jericho learning tree stuff?
Hmm. Hmm. I said this to somebody when I interviewed them recently. He knows what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? He's lent into everything.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
bringing it, people.
I get that, but it doesn't change the fact that for me, yeah, for me, yeah, I just don't watch it. Period.
No, to be honest, I don't pay for AW Plus anymore. And I just watch it on clips. Not because of Jericho, but because where you live on your own, man, there ain't always time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
To be honest, I predominantly watch AEW through YouTube clips anyway.
so do I. I watch all wrestling through YouTube clips, and I might put if AEW had a network, I think I would watch more. But the fact that WWE has a network, I might put a pay per view on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think when they go on to net, when WWE go on to Netflix, do you think they might watch it a bit more or not really?
Yes, yes, because I'm an avid net. I think we had this conversation last time,
I
but like
can't remember.
I think we did. And I said, yeah, like I'm an avid Netflix watcher anyway, so I will watch WWE a lot more.
Do you think do you think they have it? Do you think they put the full do you think they'll put the full library on there?
I think we will go through what our American cousins went through for at the start of Peacock. Do you remember all this, all the drama when it?
No, I don't remember what. Can you remind me?
So essentially, 1 minute there would be nothing on the network. Do you know what I mean? Or nothing on the WWE library, for
Yeah.
example. Then next minute it'd be, oh, every Mania is now on here. I think it'll take time. That's the way I'll phrase it.
I'm wondering about the Vince stuff. Because obviously, if he's been indicted, Netflix aren't going to be in a hurry. Netflix aren't going to be in a hurry to put the Vince stuff on there, are they?
No, but unfortunately, it's like the Hulk Hogan stuff almost 10 years ago. You can't scrub Vince or Hogan from wrestling because they're too big of stars. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I wonder whether they're gonna be apprehensive to put the Benoit stuff on there as well.
Well, that could be interesting. I think Benoit is a different case. I do not believe you will see any Chris Benoit matches on the
So that means after like the early 2000s and even the 90s are not gonna be on there. So after the catalog not gonna be on there. So if you watch him for the current day stuff, that'll be alright. But if you look at it, but if you're watching it for the library, I feel like a lot of people are gonna be are gonna be disappointed.
I mean, let's just say this. It's not confirmed or anything like that. That's just my hunch. You know what I mean?
And let me say this: I'm not saying I wouldn't blame them if they said, "Okay, we're not gonna have anything stuff, and we're not gonna have any Benoit stuff." But I'm just saying, the way WWE rely on nostalgia, uh,
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
are we okay, Tom? Yeah. What do you
Yeah,
need?
sorry. Nah, sorry. Somebody just knocked up my mum, so I'm still on their doorbell camera. I do apologize, pal.
Do you need to go?
No, we're good. We're good. I've sorted it now. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, as I said, I could understand if they didn't want to have any of the Finch stuff or the Benoit stuff, but then they couldn't rely on nostalgia, nostalgia like they do, like they do now.
I don't know, man. It's a complicated one. It really is a complicated one that I can't answer. Do you know what I mean?
As I say, I completely understand if they said to themselves, we're not going to put any other library stuff on there with Vince.
Yeah, so would I. But again, I don't know is the honest answer. There's a reason I don't work for WWE. Do you know what I mean?
We'll have to wait and see either way. I don't think, as you say, I don't think it'll be a case of day one and everything is on there.
No, I do not. I think you'll get maybe the current day manias, maybe the current day rumbles, and they'll work backwards. And by the end of next year, we will have everything on there.
or or or, may, or maybe a most stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Or 90% of stuff will be on there, is what I'm saying.
Because if you look at the Netflix catalog, some of the stuff that they have on there doesn't age very well. If you look at it from a 2024 point of view,
No, that is true. That is true. Are you talking about Netflix or WB? I got a little confused there.
so I'm just speaking like Netflix as a whole.
No, that is true. So
I
I
mean,
think I don't think we'll have as much blocked out as our American cousins, but I do still think there'll be things they'll take out.
I mean, like if you go onto Netflix, you can still watch House of Cards there, and I don't need to go into that, and I don't need to go into why that controversial, but
Yeah,
we all know.
yeah, yeah. I see your point, man. I really do.
As I say, whatever they do, I can understand both sides.
So can I. I really agree with you.
So anyway, so you mentioned you watch AEW, you watch wrestling through clips. Has there ever been, has there ever been a clip that got you so hyped up that you thought I need to go back and watch the full segment or the full match?
Yes, a lot of stuff does that. Do you know what I mean? I will try and, for example, currently, I know it's not current, but like I was loving what Edge was doing. I call him Edge, guys. Leave me alone. Edge was doing with the House of Black and things like that. I loved MJF's return. So yeah, and I on the WWE side, I love what Cody's been doing. I loved the AJ Styles, Mark Henry fake retirement thing. Do you know what I mean?
I thought Mark Henry's was better, to be honest.
Oh, so did I. You will not beat the original, but I still enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you, and as a segment, I thought it was a really good segment, even though Cody's already beaten AJ. So if you're looking at it from a story perspective, why does AJ should get a rematch for no reason?
In the words of Simon Miller, I don't know how much you watch Ups and Downs anymore, but his title shot.
Yeah, so basically they're just handing them out again like they used to.
Exactly. It's like what Simon said about somebody walks up to someone and says, his title shot. You know what I mean?
I AEW are just as bad. It's a whole wrestling thing,
Yeah,
isn't
oh
it?
yeah. Oh yeah. It's a whole wrestling thing, pal. It's not, and that's the thing. I'm not a tribalist at all. I love what WWE's doing, I love what AEW is doing. So yeah, I'm just
I
happy as a fan.
I find tribalism so stupid. Because at the end of the day, unless unless you are an investor in the company, you have no benefit to being so one or the other.
I
You
agree. I agree. 100%, pal.
so going back to you. So do you know your day to day? Yeah. So you spend a lot of time in your flat, or are you always out and about?
always doing something, whether that's going to the gym, whether that's going to see a movie. Like today, for instance, because my great aunt came round, that was the first time I've been in my flat all day with a support worker in a while. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you're out, does your support worker come with you? Or,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's not a case of where they have to sit around and wait for you to come back.
Oh no, 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 no. Because they're my carers for the or support worker for the day. It's not like I live in a house which is just governed with not security, but you know what I mean, right? With support workers that
Yeah,
work for the house.
yeah. I mean, I mean, the the other day, I went to look at a new respite on the other day,
Oh,
and and it's a great big house, yeah, and it got all the and it got like a games room. It got like a obviously it's got like a big bathroom and things like that.
ooh, very cool.
And and obviously I've got my own bedroom, but it's not like a standard bedroom. It's like it's like it's like a it's like a standard bedroom, but it's
Yeah, I
like
know what you mean.
it's like a number it's like a numbered room. And
Yeah, it's almost like a flat that's a bedroom, if you know what I mean.
well, I wouldn't say that because it's just like a standard bedroom, but it's big enough to where I can do to where I can do this. Like sit in my chair and go on my laptop
Very cool,
and
pal.
I and I can and it's big enough to where if I want to go roaming around the building, I can do.
Well, that's one thing that I think is really cool about me living on my own now. I can get around my sorry, too much hair came in. But I can like once we've done this, because I haven't been out today, I will probably go for a quick wander around my building, say what's up to my neighbors, just go get some fresh air and things like that.
Yeah. And what I really couldn't do in my other place, obviously I don't know because I haven't really stayed there yet. But I'm assuming I'll be able to record my interviews, no problem. Because the one that I went to before, it was so small that I couldn't really record a lot of stuff because I was concerned about disturbing everybody else.
Well, that's one thing that's pretty cool. I've told you before, but my best friend in the world is my neighbor. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? So he will just be not very subtle if I am making noise, and he'll just do banging on my walls as if to
yeah,
be like, shut up. But like that hasn't happened yet because to be honest, pal, I've got myself into a routine now where it's very rare. Like I did one the other night at 9 o'clock, but it's very rare that I'll record any later than 6, 7 now, just because I don't need to. Does that make sense?
yeah. Yeah, I get yeah. And also they are because of my condition, yeah, sometimes I have to more I don't know how to put it.
Support?
Yeah, but it's more like medical support if you know what I mean.
Like nurses and what have you. I get
Yeah.
you. I get you.
And this place they have nurses on site, so if I do need nurses assistance, I can do.
Cool. That's really cool, pal.
So that's what I've been up to.
It's really cool, pal.
So 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 I got all the interviews you've done that we can talk about are the ones where you have regrets. You don't have to go into
S-
be. You don't
So
have to
you,
go.
no, we're
Sorry.
cool.
You
You
d-
know, my biggest regret is the Adam Pacitti one, right? Like, I would have really handled that differently if I could.
yeah,
But no, I don't really live with regrets. There's some that I'll watch back now and I'm like, oh, now that I've grown as an interviewer, I would ask that question differently, or I would word that question differently, or I'd ask that question at a different part of the interview, or I would do things differently, but nothing that I'm like, delete, delete. Do you know what I mean?
uh, have you ever deleted the interview? You don't have to go into specifics, but just say yes or no if you want to.
No, I haven't, because again, for me personally, I think if I can show this is where I've grown, say for example, I'm the Dom one we spoke about earlier, right?
Yeah,
I'll watch our early ones and think, no, that was terrible. And then now I'll watch our new ones and think, no, I'm really happy with that. Does that make sense?
yeah. I, I've said to my audience recently, unless there's a specific reason why you have to take videos down, don't take any videos down unless there's a specific reason to. Because what I used to do, I used to get embarrassed by a lot of my videos, so I used
Mm.
to take them down. And in hindsight, I wish I never did that. Cause
No,
I,
I agree.
cause I've been,
So like,
sorry, I don't
sorry
mean to
about.
cut you off.
So
Carry
like
on.
if I'm embarrassed by an interview, I'll just say to people, don't watch that. Like, no, watch this instead. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know whether I've told you this before, but I've been making videos for nearly 14 years now. But if you were to look at my catalogue, you would only see things from like 3 years ago minimum.
Mm,
And I wish
mm,
and I wish I would have kept some of them videos live because obviously it's a good thing to look back on.
mm. I understand what you're saying completely there, man. And this is why I'm very happy that like next month as we record this, well, actually a month on Friday will be my 3-year anniversary of doing interviews. And I'm really proud of the fact that we've never missed an episode. We've never had to take down an episode because something's come out about a guest, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's always a concern for me, to be honest.
The
Yeah,
way I look at things like that, if something came out about one of my guests, I'd be like, just don't watch that one then if you're not comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but it's more about I feel uncomfortable about having an episode with them on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that's different. Like if something came out about XYZ and I was like, no, I'm not comfortable airing you anymore, I would take it down. But like if something came out about someone I had no clue what that meant, no clue what, do you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. What is your ultimate goal by the end of the year, Tom, either personally or creatively or whatever?
So creatively, I'd love to get this cookbook finished. Do you know what I mean? The thing we were talking about earlier. I'd love to say I got this cookbook finished by the end of the year. That'd be very cool. I would love to say that I'd love to continue pumping out interviews to the point that we can have one for every year. One for every year? No, that's not right. One for every week of the year.
With that, that would take a lot of work, you know. So I'm, I'm not saying you can't do it, obviously, but all I'm saying is that would take a lot of work on your part.
Still quite lucky though, man, because I told you off camera, my editor and I had a conversation, and I'm like, I think we've got like 3 months of content in the can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you you know, in interviewing somebody, do you actually tell them that this might not go up for a while? I can't remember whether you do or not.
Yeah, I do. I because you'll notice that I'll pop up with at time of recording when they start talking about, or as I'll start the question with, as we record this in XYZ, because I'm not sure when this will air. Uh, where is your fandom, for example?
Have, I'm just curious, have you tried reaching out to Brian Alvarez?
Yes, Twitter DMs, but I don't know his email, so I would love to reach out to him.
Have you ever got a response at all?
Not yet, unfortunately. He is a big one for me.
I, as of late, yeah, I've been watching a lot of clips of Brian and Finney's show. And to be honest, yeah, it's one of them things where I've always heard about it, but I've always heard that they would play, they was really negative. But but I watched a couple of clips anyway, and it made me laugh.
Exactly. So I believe everyone should have a voice in this space, whether you're Mr. Negative or Mr. Positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's, so what would have you ever had a creator that that you've heard stuff about, and then you develop the opinion on them, and then you watch their stuff, and then you think they're actually all right.
So maybe not watched, but can I tell you one that I've interviewed that I thought was going to be different?
Yeah,
I don't know how positive or negatively this will be received, but it was JDMY. I really enjoyed my conversation with him. You know what I mean?
yeah. I think I told you at the time. I think I told you at the time. Be careful.
Mm. And I was careful, and like I was really proud of that interview, actually, man, because the way I deconstructed JD, for lack of a better word, and got him to pull back the mask and things like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'll have to go back and read what that one.
Mm. Please do, because I'm really proud of that one. I'm not gonna lie.
So as we start wrapping it up, I've got a couple more questions, and then we can do the plugs, and then
Mm.
and then we can call it a day if that's all right.
Yeah, perfect, man. This hour's gone by really fast. I really enjoyed catching up with you.
I think this is my best interview in terms of my speech. Like I don't think I've stammered once.
I don't think so, no. And like I said, it's not really an interview when you and I catch up. It's just I want to hang out with my buddy. Do you know what I mean?
But for the last couple of days, I've been really thinking about how I speak during my interviews. Because sometimes I can stammer a lot, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah.
it can really annoy me. So
We're our own worst critics. That's the thing, man. Like I've got a massive spot on my head at the moment, and I know full well when my interviews that I'm recording currently start airing, I'll be like, "Why didn't you airbrush that or put something like get rid of it?" Do you know what I mean?
yeah, so do you know when it comes, to simple stuff, yeah, like hair cutting and things like that. Do you go out, or does somebody come into your building and do the residence?
So haircutting, we'll do us not ourselves. Ourselves, but like we have to go to the barbers ourselves, or like my mum is a hairdresser, so she'll cut it for me when she comes to visit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you and in the evenings, I am obviously you have people around, yeah. Can it sometimes get a bit quiet and lonely in the evenings?
That's the main reason I do stuff like this, whether it be the editing, whether it be having someone on. It's like to give me something to do, and for lack of a better word, man, a sense of purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you mean, mate.
Exactly. So it's and I'm wondering what your next question's going to be. So yeah, that's the main reason I still do this stuff, man. To keep myself occupied and to keep the ticker working. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, so my penultimate question would be if you, if you could design it, if you could design your flat however you wanted, yeah, how would you do it? Have you thought about it or not?
Not really, man, because I feel very lucky because I have designed my flat how I want. Do you know what I mean? And I do feel very lucky in that respect of this is my place now and very lucky about how everything is designed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, do you know your TV? Is it connected to the internet or is it just like a standard TV? The
So
one
the
that,
one in here is a
yeah,
standard TV. Like it can connect to the internet, but it's a complicated way of doing it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And then the one in my front room is connected to Netflix, Amazon, and all that. Because I'll be honest, man, that's one great thing about having my own place. I don't really sit in my bedroom as much as I did at my family's. Does that make sense?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does, mate. The one that I have in my room, the one that I have in my room does connect to the internet. Just because, as I've said to you before, like during during the night, it's just easier for me to lie on my bed and watch YouTube or watch whatever.
So I will do that, but like I don't mind sitting in my front room because I've got my own space. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and obviously I imagine you can transfer a lot easier than I can.
Yeah, unfortunately, mate, you are correct there.
So my last question is, what what do you watch any podcasts?
So yeah, I watch. You may know who this guy is, Diary of a CEO.
Yeah, Stephen Bartlett. Yeah,
Yeah, I watch him because I don't know if you do this now. Not only do I watch for the guests, but I watch for to learn how to be a better interviewer. And Stephen Bartlett is so good.
yeah. Yeah. I think he's one of the best on the platform. To be honest, in my
I would
person.
agree. If you haven't checked out the podcast with Simon Cowell, which was this week's one, do it. It is so good.
I've got, you know, on YouTube, you have to watch later stuff. I've got that in my watch late. I've got that in my watch later stuff.
Do it. It is so good. And anywho, so and it, to be honest, it depends who I'm interviewing. Like, I don't really have the time to sit and watch podcasts anymore. But like, if I'm interviewing a wrestler and I know they've done Desert Island Graps with Tom Campbell, I'll go and check that out. If they've done an episode with Chris Van Vliet, I'll go check that out. If they've done an episode with Jeremy Lambert and Stephen Jensen, I will check that out. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, so, my, so at the moment, I'm really enjoying the Deadlock podcast.
Hmm. The Deadlock Boys are really cool as well. I
Yeah.
will say that.
Have
Yeah,
you,
I just
have,
don't have the time.
have you tried to get one of them on?
So, yeah, I don't want to say too
Uh,
much.
can you tell me off the camera then?
Yeah.
Okay, so my last question is for anybody that might be watching this with a disability with a disability similar to yourself, and there might be a bit apprehensive about moving out. What would your I don't know what the right word is advice or
I know what you mean, though. So, I don't know because it's a case by case basis. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's why it says people that are similar to you, people that are more physically able, but might not have the confidence. That's what I'm predominantly talking about.
mm. So I can tell you what I did. Whether that would work for anyone else, I don't know. But like baby steps, start doing things for yourself in your current living situation, like putting a load of washing on if you can, if you're physically able. Help with the
Yeah,
cooking so you can learn how to cook when you're on your own. Help with the shopping so you know what shopping is and budgeting and things like that. And things like that, really, my man. I hope that helps people, but that's what helps me.
yeah. As you quite rightly said, everybody's different. Obviously, my needs are different to your needs. So yeah, obviously, obviously, I can't do a lot of the stuff that you can do. So
Mm.
it's all relative, person to person, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, man. And all I will say is also to wrap this up, if you can't do one thing, that doesn't mean you can't do everything. Do you know what I mean? Like find things that you can do. Take as my as my as my family say to me, take the T off of can't and what have you got?
Uh, yeah, exactly, mate.
Exactly. Exactly. I think yeah, that's it really.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why, but for 1 minute, for 1 minute there, I felt, I felt like, I felt like, I felt like I was back at school.
Yeah, I know. We used to get told that a lot at school. That's why. But yeah,
Yeah, you know, when somebody asks you a question, it's like, do they want me to answer, or is it a rhetorical question? So I just end up sitting there.
no, I understand what you're saying. I really do, pal.
So thank you for coming on, Tom. I don't know what number this is, but I want to thank you.
7, I think.
I don't have a clue, mate, to be honest. At this
I
point
think
on
it's
the
7.
so as I said, I want to thank you for coming on once again. Would you like to take a minute to promote any project you got coming up, or any of you?
So So yeah, if you guys like this, you can find me on the Tom Talks Rubbish YouTube channel, which is Tom Talks Rubbish, where I interview people within wrestling media about their fandom, their overall burnout, and their process, how they became a creator, what they want their legacies to be, whether they view their career as a success. And we wrap up with a round of generic wrestling questions. It's always a fun time. But as always, my friend, thank you for coming. Thank you for having me back on. It's been a pleasure.
No worries, mate. Would you like to promote your social medias quickly?
Oh yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at or X at Tom Talks Rubbish, and I will see. Why am I doing my outro?
I mean, you can do the outro. You can do the outro if you want
Nah,
to.
nah, it's your show, pal. You do it.
I, I nearly got away with it then. Anyway, anyway, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. Have a good day, and I will speak to you later.